All right, so today we're gonna dive into AI,
Okay.
and specifically
Sounds good.
uh, looking at this rivalry and that's
Yeah.
that's heating up between ChatGPT, which I'm sure a lot of our listeners are familiar with,
Right.
and this newcomer called DeepSeek.
Yeah,
And you've brought some fascinating articles on
I
this,
have. I have.
so we're gonna kind of try to break down, what this all means, and what this could mean for the future of AI as a whole.
Yeah, I think this is really interesting because DeepSeek kind of came out of nowhere,
Yeah.
and it's already making some pretty big waves,
Yeah.
claiming to match or even outperform ChatGPT in certain areas.
Right.
But the really interesting part is that they're doing it with a lot less computing power.
Yeah, that seems to be the thing that everyone's buzzing about right now.
Right.
It's not even just the cost savings necessarily.
Yeah.
It's almost like this is pointing to a new era of AI development where maybe you don't need these massive, server farms to,
Exactly.
to,
Yeah.
to develop these models.
Yeah. It really challenges that kind of assumption that we've had for a while,
Yeah.
that you need these massive resources to really make progress in AI.
Yeah.
And now DeepSeek is kind of proving that maybe that's not necessarily the case,
Yeah.
which I think is really exciting because it could potentially open the doors for more players,
Right.
to enter the field and to contribute to the development of AI.
Yeah, so it's almost like it's becoming more democratized,
Exactly.
which kind of leads into this next point about cost and accessibility.
Yeah.
I mean, DeepSeek is open source and something like almost 97% cheaper than ChatGPT.
Yeah, like 96.4% cheaper, which is a huge
Okay.
difference. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I guess, when we look at that kind of shift in affordability, what does that mean for the potential applications of AI?
Well, I think it really opens up a whole new world of possibilities because now you have individuals, you have startups, you have researchers who previously couldn't even dream of using these powerful AI tools,
Yeah.
and now they suddenly have access to them.
Right.
So I think we could see a real explosion of innovation across all sorts of industries,
Yeah.
from, healthcare to education
Yeah.
to creative fields, anything you can think of.
Yeah. I mean, we're seeing it already, right? Like, NVIDIA's stock price
Exact.
took a bit of a dip
Yeah.
when DeepSeek kind of burst onto the scene.
I think that's a really telling sign, right?
Yeah.
Because NVIDIA is this major player in AI hardware.
Right.
And their business model is built around this idea that you need these,
Right.
massive, expensive GPUs to do AI development.
Yeah.
And now DeepSeek is coming along and saying, well, actually, maybe you don't need all of that.
Yeah.
And I think that's sending shockwaves through the industry.
Yeah, I think so too. So let's kind of dive a little deeper into comparing these models head to head. ChatGPT, we know what it does, right?
Hmm.
It's conversational. It's creative.
Mm.
It's got up-to-date information.
Yeah.
What about DeepSeek? What are some of the things that model does particularly well?
Well, DeepSeek's R1 model
Okay.
is really interesting because it's specifically designed for things like logical reasoning,
Oh.
complex problem solving,
Okay.
and coding.
Okay.
It uses this unique architecture
Okay.
that really prioritizes efficient data processing.
Right.
And this allows it to achieve comparable results to ChatGPT,
Right.
but with much less computational overhead.
So it's more efficient.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. So it's almost like you're saying like ChatGPT might be more like a Swiss Army knife.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's a good analogy.
It's got all these features.
Yeah, it's got the voice mode, it's got the image generation.
Right.
It's very polished, it's very user-friendly,
Yeah.
whereas DeepSeek is maybe a little bit more bare bones.
Right.
But it's free,
Right.
and it's incredibly powerful for those specific tasks.
Right. So it comes down to what you're trying to achieve.
Yeah, exactly.
What do you need the tool for?
Do you need the fancy Swiss Army knife?
Yeah.
Or do you just need a really good, hammer?
Yeah. A really good hammer.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the other thing that I think is worth talking about is, DeepSeek being based in China,
Right.
obviously raises some concerns about data privacy,
Yeah.
potential government influence.
Of course. Yeah.
How does that compare to ChatGPT's approach?
Well, it's important to keep in mind that both platforms have content moderation policies.
Right.
Right. They both have guidelines
Yeah.
about what kind of content is allowed.
Yeah.
But of course, the specific guidelines and the way that those guidelines are enforced
Right.
can vary
Yeah.
between the two platforms.
Yeah.
So users should definitely be aware of those differences.
Yeah.
And I think ultimately it comes down to understanding how these platforms handle data
Right.
and making informed decisions
Yeah.
based on your own, comfort levels and your own requirements.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So kind of stepping back a little bit, looking at the big picture,
Yeah.
what does this rivalry, I guess, tell us about the future of AI development?
Well, I think DeepSeek's success is a really strong indicator
Yeah.
that we might be seeing a kind of paradigm shift
Yep.
in AI development, right? It's not just about raw processing power anymore.
Yeah.
It's about efficiency.
Right.
It's about being able to achieve those impressive results
Right.
with as little computational overhead as possible.
Yeah.
And I think that's a trend that we're going to continue to see
Yeah.
as AI development progresses.
Yeah.
And I think that's ultimately a good thing.
Right.
Because it means that AI is going to become more accessible.
Right.
It's going to become more affordable.
Yeah.
And it's going to be open to a wider range of people.
So essentially what you're saying is that this rivalry could actually be a good thing for everyone.
I think so, absolutely, yeah.
It's pushing the entire field forward,
Yeah.
driving innovation,
Exactly.
and potentially leading to, even more powerful and affordable
Yeah.
AI tools in the future.
I completely agree.
Yeah. It's definitely a really interesting time to be following AI.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah,
So DeepSeek coming on the scene has really shaken things up,
it has.
and I think it's a really good thing for the industry as a whole.
Yeah, I think it's going to be really interesting to see
Yeah.
how this rivalry plays out, to
Mhm.
see how companies like OpenAI respond,
Right?
to see what kind of innovations come out of this competition.
Yeah, absolutely.
So keep your eye on this space.
Yeah. Yeah, we're all going to be watching this very closely.
For sure.
All right. Well, this has been fascinating. Thank you so much for joining me today.
It's been a pleasure. Thanks for having me.
All right. And to all our listeners out there, thanks for tuning in.
Yeah, thanks for listening.
We'll see you next time.
See you later.
Bye.
Bye.